Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Every time. Every time. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 169, where we're going to get a little bit freaky tonight.
Yeah, baby.
Episode 169 of the Three Splinters podcast, formerly known as the Green Suiters podcast.
It seems like we just did 168.
And yeah, like a week ago.
We did.
Okay.
Now, before we get going, we do have two new patrons that we would like to welcome. One of them by the name of Mr. Gordon Schmidt. Welcome, Gordon.
Welcome, Gordon.
Welcome.
And the other, Mr. John Feminella of Texas Yankee Carpentry.
Welcome.
My
Welcome
good
to
army
you both.
buddy. And when he signed up, I was actually a little bit surprised. I was like, what a jerk. He wasn't already a patron. Thanks, John.
Hey, John.
I know you make
Welcome
that big
aboard.
first sergeant money.
You seem quite familiar.
But I can't
I
help
see
but
what you
think
did
that-
there.
Well,
I
not
can't
bad,
help
huh?
but think that these two fine gentlemen may have become patrons because of our wonderful Splinter Con coming up in September, which we'll talk about.
Con.
We'll talk about. You guys talked about that plenty last week, so we do have some updates about that, which we'll share in just a minute. And just like SplinterCon, it is only open to, which is only open to our patrons and our patrons alone. So is our giveaways that we do every month. And this month, the sponsor of our giveaway is our wonderful friends over at Celiche America. And they are giving away a box to two lucky winners. And in a box comes 6 pairs of slides. The two winners will have an opportunity to pick from the Progressa line of slides in the length of 15, 18, or 21 inches.
Wow.
For those of you that love imperial measurements. So 2 people will win. And then, of course, we'll have our random festival swag item also at the end of the month. And again, to do that, to win those prizes and or go to our meetup, you must be a patron. And to join, you can go to patreon.com/the Three Splinters podcast now. So make sure you go there, because if you try to go to the Green Suiters podcast, it actually doesn't exist anymore. So Three Splinters podcast, that's where you need to go. Sign up to be a patron. Exact same page. All the same content is there. Never changed. All we did was change the name. So now about SplinterCon, before we get into our wonderful episode tonight. Those of you that are patrons and are above the $1 tier, and reminder for all you that are listening and you're not a patron, you can become a patron for $1, and then you have access to the giveaways and the meetup. So there you go. But if you're above the $1 tier, you get early access to our episodes. By the time you're listening to this episode, you have likely already bought a ticket to the Splinter Con event 2025.
Con.
Because I believe come Tuesday or Wednesday, an email will be sent out to all of the people who attended last year. They will get first dibs. And then Friday, the day that this comes out, to our wonderful early patron listeners, you will all see a link posted in Patreon to where you yourself can go purchase a ticket. And once you purchase that ticket, you will also get a special link to book your hotel room. I just want to reiterate, since I wasn't on here last week, we only have 50 tickets we're selling for this. Okay, so we do feel as though those tickets are going to sell. So it would probably be in your best interest to buy them early. And also, as we get closer to the event, the tickets probably will increase at some point. So definitely, if you want to go, 25th, I believe 25th through the 28th of September, Thursday through Sunday. Lexington, no, not Lexington.
No. Newport.
Newport, Kentucky.
Cincinnati.
On the Levy.
Newport on the Levee, same location as last year. I know
Flying
the
into-
majority,
Flying into CVG.
I know the majority of the
Cincinnati
people that went last year, literally every single person that went last year, was very happy with the location. So we're going to be doing it again there. So again, hopefully start buying those tickets. The sooner you buy the tickets, the better of an event we'll be able to plan. We're very excited about it. It's going to be great.
And Ronnie's going to run security late night again.
Yeah. Nobody pulling
Hopefully-
up on my front of my hotel in no Maserati. Take them
Yeah,
out.
hopefully nobody gets hurt. Hopefully nobody has to get in a fist fight. It was a
Yeah.
Wild West there last year.
All I
late
gotta do
night.
is tap on my all my splinters came out.
Yeah, all my splinters.
All my splinters came out. They represented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ready to scrap.
Yeah.
Yo.
But yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And the only way you're going to get access to buying these tickets is by becoming a patron. So if this is something that interests you, we highly encourage you to do it. Because like I said, they're going to sell quickly. Oh, one thing
It's wicked fun.
wicked fun. And you're going to leave
Yeah.
there with a bunch of really cool stuff. So
Yeah.
ask anybody that went last year. This year will be better. We're certain of that. But the couples thing. So we have 2 tickets that are going to be available for purchase. Ronnie brought this up. We should probably clarify it. For those of you that are listening, we did have a lot of people that brought spouses last year. We're totally fine with that. We encourage it. It could be a nice weekend getaway with you and your spouse. We have a single patron ticket that is available for purchase, meaning if you are coming by yourself, please purchase that ticket. And if you are coming and you're bringing a spouse, please purchase the couple's ticket. The reason for that is you're not paying full price for 2 tickets. You are going to pay an upcharge, but we want your spouse to be involved. We just want to make sure we're planning for the food and we cover everything. And obviously, everything would be available to the spouse that you're bringing as well. We want you to bring your spouse if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. And we want to bring them in and have them be a part of the event. So just understand that if you're coming with the spouse, please purchase the spouse ticket for a slightly higher price. Cool.
Yes.
I think that solves it. And if you and your spouse are both patrons, you can still purchase the spouse ticket. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
We're not going to make you buy 2 individual tickets.
Yes.
We're not trying to make money on this event. We're just trying to make this event as good as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Oh, and
you
we're
paying
also-
attention? You paying attention, Dirk?
We're also
Yeah.
we're also okay with if you're dating and not married yet, but we do require you buy 2 separate rooms.
Yeah, no, I don't care. The hotel's great, man. They've been so accommodating. I'm so glad that we're doing it there again. She was very excited that we were coming back, which is great.
That's all.
But anyway, all right, enough about all that. Let's not do the hard sell every episode from now until September. I think if you guys want to find out what it was like, go in Discord and ask people that went. There's your best way to find out how awesome the event was.
Yes.
So, what have we been up to? You want me to go
Sedge?
first?
You go
Yeah.
first.
I actually started cutting plywood.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually do woodworking from time to time in my studio
How'd it
shop.
go?
It went okay.
Your studio shop.
Yeah, no, I actually ended up going up to Frank Miller Lumber. It was the first time I've ever been up there, and I could have had it delivered, but that particular day, I mean, pretty much every day really at this point, but because I'm retired, I didn't have anything going on. I didn't have any obligations or anything like that. So I said, you know what, I'm going to drive the 2 hours, go up there. I'll just pick up the materials myself. I want to see the facility. Pretty cool.
Yep.
Super friendly people. Very, very nice. They have a good, excellent selection. I didn't see it, but they have an excellent selection. I have their price list of plywood. So I bought 13 sheets of pre-finished maple. And
Double-sided
Yeah,
or single-sided?
double-sided. Yeah. Double-sided. And it was, a seamless process. We loaded it up, drove home, downloaded everything. That wasn't fun, but download everything. And then I cut up all 13 sheets and everything's ready to get edge banded, which I had fully intended on doing this week, but didn't. I'm actually waiting on some more edge banding, and I'm waiting on a bunch of parts. So that's we can talk about this throughout the episode. We don't have to talk about it now, but it just brought up an idea that we could talk about building prior to having the things in front of you versus using your previous not. Yeah, I think that'd be a good conversation. So maybe we can.
That's a great
Yeah, I'm there.
conversation.
I'm there right now.
Yeah.
Oh
So
no.
yeah. Well, let's get through what we've been up
It
to.
messed me up.
Yes. Yeah. See, because I know you had a recent experience as well. So let's
Yes.
plan on tailoring the conversation to that because I think that'd be super helpful for a lot of people. But I did that. Really excited today. I actually went out there because I'm going to be gone for a week because tomorrow morning I will be getting on a plane when it is -2 degrees, and I will be stepping off a plane. It will be 60 degrees, and I will be playing golf in Scottsdale, Arizona for 6 days, and I absolutely cannot wait. With one of our patrons, actually, Mr. Rick Bino.
Awesome.
I swear, Nicole will tell you, she actually recorded me. I was marking my golf balls, and I like to put like these alignment lines on them because it helps me when I putt, and it's also obviously easy to identify whose ball is whose. And I'm sitting there doing it. I'm so into it, right? Like I geek out over this stuff because I follow all these like golfing accounts, and it's like just all these golf bros, like going on these trips, and it's just like the most epic time ever, and not a care in the world, and like taking everything uber serious, and drinking and eating and playing for money, and just like having a great time with other guys on a golf course. Like I feel like now I'm at that age where that is going to consume my life for the next 20 years. It is just I cannot wait. I am so excited about it. It just I've been
So now you're transitioning from woodworking to golf, where you're in woodworking, you were marking your wood, now you're marking your balls.
yeah.
Nice.
With a peak.
I figure you got to do both, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, there's part of me that's like so tempted to like, because come summertime, like I'm going to do what I need to do for YouTube, and I'm going to do what I need to do for the house, but just not on a timeline. As soon as it's like April through like October, there's one place that you can pretty much guarantee to find me, and that's going to be golfing. Like I'm all in. Like I absolutely love it. I still have work to do, with the business, and I'm going to continue to do that, and because that's how I make money, but I just love it. So I'm so excited. I've been packed for like 2 or 3 days.
You're
Like, I'm not-
a little kid.
I am not even joking. Like my bag is next to the door, the travel golf bag. Everything is in there, ready to go. I have like, I obviously have to leave here in cold weather clothes. I have like my golf clothes in the bag, like ready to be easily accessed when we get to the golf course so I can change. Like we're going from the airport to the golf course, playing golf, then going to the Airbnb. Like that's the kind of trip that this is. Every single day we're playing golf. And it's going to be great. I'm so I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm like crazy excited about
You're like
this.
a little giddy little schoolgirl.
I
didn't
cannot
think that
wait.
The planes would take off in Indy when it was -3. I thought they would delay them for 24 hours.
No, you
Yeah,
shut
that
your
usually
mouth.
happens.
No, it doesn't. I saw this like people freaking out about just cold weather in general. Like it's clear, it's just cold. Do you know how cold it is at altitude? Like how many degrees below zero that plane is in the entire time?
Yeah, I pointed that out to somebody the other day. They were like, "Well, a plane fly when it's that cold?" I'm like, "It's like that in the summer when a plane's flying."
Yes. It's like warm on the ground compared to when they're gonna be flying at 35,000 feet at like -70 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's gonna be great. So I stacked all the plywood on top of my assembly table, like all nice and neat, so everything like stays nice and flat because it was all standing upright. But other than that, not really much else when it comes to the woodworking side of things. I got some new parts and stuff, but we'll talk about that. And then today, Nicole and I got to spend a wonderful day together.
Nice.
And both kids, they went to Max's daycare because Leo's school was closed. But I was like, you know what, honey? I have some things that I wanted to do today before I left, but you know what? Who cares? Screw it. let's go out and just have a fun day together. We can do whatever you want. What do you want to do? We can go to IKEA. So I went to IKEA and we looked at the PAX system because we're probably going to put the IKEA PAX stuff in our master closet.
What is the PAX? What is that?
It's their wardrobe cabinet
Oh, okay.
stuff where you can
Okay.
you can literally customize every single aspect of it to like what type of drawer, style drawer, color, shelves. You can put shelves wherever you want and they will like flat pack it, ship it to you, and you put it all together. And I know, gasp, but you're a woodworker. Why don't you do it yourself, right?
Mm-mm.
I will tell you that on this kitchen project, I spent $1,400, $1,500
I was going to
just.
guess 1,500 on that.
And this is three
Yeah.
cabinets. It's a refrigerator surround, it's a center
Mm-hmm.
cabinet, and it's a base cabinet with drawers and an upper cabinet with doors. That was just for the plywood.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
100 a sheet was what I was thinking.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hardware total is like over $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
That's not including the doors from Element Design that we might be using. Those are very expensive. That's not including my time. That's not including the edge banding. That's not including the leg levelers that I purchased from Hayfla.
Is that for the entire kitchen
No, that's just for the wall where the pantry came out.
that you showed me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe
because
it.
the pocket door hardware is crazy expensive.
Of course.
Yeah. That's
So I
regular.
was
Like IKEA, I'll look at things sometimes and I'm like, the hardware is what the price of the entire furniture thing is.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
we
go
started
ahead.
doing some rough estimates, like because they have a really intuitive design software on their website. And I know people will hate on IKEA, like, oh, it's cheap crap, right? When I was in Germany, like if you go to any European home, it's like you're in IKEA, right? Like
Mhm.
literally, it is the biggest furniture store in Europe, period. Like everybody like you go in a bathroom and it's like you're in a bathroom at IKEA. Like that, it's the most common thing. This stuff, we had it in our house in Germany. We moved with it like 3 times. Guess what? All of that stuff was still perfectly fine. It's surprising. It's not that bad
But-
of stuff.
I will say too, though, you're married to someone from Europe. My understanding is that people in Europe generally say it's cheap, and that I don't think that the American side feels that as much. Some people think IKEA is even like a high-end product, depending on where it is.
Well,
Well,
you hear it like
and
you
a lot
hear
of-
the Craig pocket screws.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyone who's put one together understands that it's not a high-end product.
Right.
Well,
There's-
every German kitchen I've been in that has IKEA, it comes with Swedish meatballs.
Yeah.
And I
Funny, we
also
bought some
think-
of those today.
Did
I also
bring
think
home.
it depends on what it is. Like Madison wanted a little vanity mirror once, little, and I was like, for sure, I don't want to build that. When I was putting those drawers together, I regretted getting it. I could have made it faster. Like it was ridiculous how many of those cam screws and
Yeah.
the sliding slot and everything. It took me forever to figure out how to do it.
I'm
Some
not
things are
looking
probably better
forward
than
to that.
others. But
No,
some things
it's-
are better than others.
It's pretty much all like that because we get a lot of stuff there for the kids, right? They have a lot of great furniture options for the kids, right? Things that they're going to grow up, they're going to beat up. It's not expensive, but
Right.
the stuff lasts. Like we have stuff for the kids, they beat the crap out of, and it still is perfectly fine. Like it is, there's nothing wrong with it. So when I was talking to Nicole and she was like, I really want to take care of this closet and do something, I'm like, you know what? Let's just do something that would add significant value. Cause I mean, you could really, really trick out a closet with that stuff. And it's not like it's something that I'm using all day, every day. Would I question it? Maybe in my kitchen with the hardware that they have. Is it the same quality as like Bloom or Celiche or Grass? No, probably not. But in a closet, like where I'm hanging clothes and putting, undershirts in a drawer and hanging pairs of pants and putting my shoes, like I'm not super worried about longevity, and I think it's going to be just fine. And by the way, the kids aren't in there beating stuff up. So I was actually really impressed because if you walk through any IKEA, they have all this stuff. But when I started doing the design, As you're doing the design on the website and customizing everything, it will update the price as you do it.
That's
So it's
amazing.
like, I want this door to be glass. You click on that glass door, the little ticker up in the right hand corner goes from like 740 to 860 or whatever it is. So as you're building this out, you see in real time what this is going to cost. I would say to do our closet, which is large. We do have a very large closet, and it's like 8 feet long on 2 walls, and I would say a little over that on the back wall. And we're basically going to go like a U shape down the wall, across, and back down. And then we're going to do some like seating area in the middle. It's probably going to be in the 5 to 6K range. That's
what I would
5 to 6K for everything.
You would have 4 minimum in materials just on the not hardware. You'd have 4 in the cheap
Just
goods.
lumber.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd
Absolutely.
have 4.
No doubt.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's like there's certain things that I just think, and again, this is another great topic, and I think we've probably covered it on this podcast before. You're a woodworker. Why would you not build that? It's like, okay, yeah, but like think of the amount of time that would go into that and how much money you're going to spend. Now, if IKEA
And
was
if you sell the house, no one appreciates it.
no,
If you say, "Oh,
No.
I made that," because you're not there.
They don't.
When the realtor goes through and shows,
they're
Yeah.
just going to
You
go in
know,
and go, oh my God,
my
look
God,
how organized
is
this
that
is. This
nice
is
that
amazing.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing where I looked at my buddy, who's a woodworker. He's the guy who helped me start my career at Festool, Jim. He goes, I go, boy, this is nice. I walked into his pantry. He goes, IKEA. I go, what? Because this guy is a magician cabinet maker. And he goes, I looked at the pricing of everything, and he goes, you really should go look at it, because Marianne's been saying, hey, we still got wire racking, the builder's wire racking
Yep.
in our pantry. And she goes, you got to look at this. So I've done a few things like you have done and priced it up. It's very affordable. It's called I think it's Alcott collection or something like that. And and you can just tweak it.
Yeah.
Think about
Yeah.
it, man. Think about the
Yeah.
time, just edge banding, right?
Well,
And
Cameron's
because guess what? It's not a signature piece that I can say, hey, check out my pantry, dude.
right.
Mhm.
I'd rather have them go, oh, look at that table I made, or that credenza I made, or the cabinetry that you see every day out in front, or
Right.
a really nice miter saw station.
Yeah. We gotta get to that too.
Holy
know-
Cameron's bed is a gray gloss from IKEA bed that he wanted. We made the headboard for it, like a herringbone out of wood. But that bed with a drawer underneath, I think was like $150. Like,
yeah.
how can I build a bed? I couldn't even paint it for $150. It's like it's a no-brainer. We just made it,
Yeah.
and that's where I think a lot of people do that. They call it the IKEA hacks. You can buy one of the components, make the top or make the headboard, and it looks like an amazing piece. So that's another option too. We have the power to customize things on top
Yes.
of the Kia build, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too. Like, even if you were to just buy all the boxes with the hardware and then you just made your own doors to
Yeah.
be the style that you wanted for your kitchen. I mean, think of how much money you would save there. Now, if IKEA was making stuff out of, really high quality plywood with crazy veneers on it, would it be so inexpensive? Like, no, it wouldn't be, right? It's value engineered, and they figured out a way to do it, which is flat packing, which is you assemble everything. We're just cutting everything on a CNC and sending it to you. So, and they're a major corporation. So I think that there are times where, it does make sense to do that kind of stuff. But you know what it is? Pride gets in the way of people.
Absolutely.
We were
Yeah.
sitting in the living room the other night, over the weekend. And Nicole, you said that round concrete coffee table that I made with the end tables?
Yep.
Well, we want to get something different. We want to get one that has like seating like built into it that slides underneath it, but you can pull out so the kids can sit at it.
Oh.
Because now we have these two stupid little stools or chairs there all the time. We're always tripping over them. Like, this is dumb. So Nicole had this great idea. She's like, why don't you make a coffee table that has seats incorporated that, slide in and out? And I was like, yeah. Well, when am I going to do that? Right? I'm in the middle of this kitchen project. Right after that, I'm building a room in the basement for Nicole's gym. Right after that is when I'm going to get into my miter saw station. And then after that is when we may end up start looking at the rest of the kitchen. So it's like, When am I going to prioritize that? I'm not. So I had to swallow my pride a little bit when she said, I think I want to buy one. And I'm like, okay, and it's like, I can't do all of it. And if you don't want to wait for a year, then just buy something.
Yeah.
Later on down the road, if you decide you don't like it and I have time and we're not doing projects for the house, maybe then I'll build one.
Yep.
But I had to swallow a little bit of pride. And she's like,
I
honey,
think
you
that's
can make it, but when can you make it?
I think that's a stage in the woodworking journey that everyone gets to. Where the point where Kelly comes to me and she's like, "Okay, I really want this bench, but should I just order it?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I just went through that with Marianne's new desk,
Yeah.
but I ran into a good problem. She's been ordering all these things and she can't get them. So she sucked it up. And last night she goes, "Hey, I'm not in a hurry. Would you want to build this?" I go, "Absolutely. Thank you." Because she goes, "I think I might have bruised you a little." I go, "No, no, no, no. I know you wanted it right away. Now you're still going to have to wait for it." She goes, "Okay. But since the miter saw stand, I want to keep building."
Yeah.
I am so inspired now. Oh my God.
That's
I'm so
awesome.
inspired.
I caught I'm breaking the rules. I watched your last video and I'm working my way backwards because I wanted to watch it on Sunday, by the way. And I did I did, spoiler alert, I saw it, but I still get, it's cool when it's a build video, you still get the same value out of it by going backwards,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe even more because I can watch your end video and go, how did he do that? And I'm working my way backwards. And I'm like, oh, that's how he did that.
How is I know I saw it in person, but didn't you just recently finished it and released your last video on it? Did you not?
Yeah. Released it this weekend. Yeah.
How is it doing?
Yeah.
You guys want to hear some real quick? I have never said, "Hey, if you like the content, please subscribe. It keeps us going." Have you ever said that in a video?
A long time ago.
I forget to do it. I haven't done it in a while.
You don't
I've
need
never
to.
done it. And I did it at the very end.
What
I
happened?
got almost 100 subscribers. I'm at 5K right now in 2 days.
Oh,
And
that's
I got
awesome.
and 100 people subscribed.
Oh,
I
that's cool.
never, ever get that. So, Chris said today we're going back and forth. Chris is going, texting. He goes, "We got to do more subscribing." Jokingly, but people don't realize that. And I think about it when I hear it in a video or something. And when someone says, "Hey, if you like," and sometimes people pop in the middle of it and say, "Hey, if you like what you see, please subscribe." It keeps us going. And then all of a sudden I think, "Oh," and I look down and I subscribe. I do it. You forget. And I'm not trying to lay guilt out, but I have a lot of people who watch.
Yeah,
the
if you're
videos
listening and you're not subscribed, you better subscribe.
Yeah, but I don't.
I think sometimes the beginning, I don't like at the beginning when the video comes on and the first thing they say is, "Make sure you subscribe." And
That's going to be Sedge's next video.
I'm like,
"No, it's
"Hey,
not.
Everybody, welcome back to Sedge Tool. Make sure you
Bye-bye."
Yeah, his next video. I just want to make sure y'all subscribing. Thanks for tuning in.
Before we go any further, I'm watching. Hit that subscribe button.
No, that's a good reminder to ask. I kind of just forget sometimes it's some people listen.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Oh, Marianne just walked by. She heard me say bye-bye, and she just walked by the French doors and went bye-bye.
You're like, no, that's a fake goodbye.
It's probably like, well, oh, you're done? Dinner. Let's go.
And we've been hibernating all weekend.
We have too. That's it. This weather. I mean, we're not. I know we're not just in one region, but I think we're having similar weather right now with the whole freeze over. It just makes you like we haven't even put our Christmas decorations up completely yet because we can't get to the things in the garage. And it's like, what's the point? No one's coming over anyway. The sidewalks are all frozen outside. It's like we're just like it's put us on pause in some ways in life.
So this morning I got up at I usually get up around 5:30. Have a couple of coffees before I head to the gym, and I'm sitting there having my first cup of coffee, and I'm in my shorts, and I go to the gym in shorts, and I usually have like a hoodie on this time of year, and I'm like, I didn't put the trash out, so I had to go out there this morning and take the two trash cans down. And this was been the coldest morning we've had so far by far. And I was like totally regretting that. Like you just want to stay inside or go from the
Oh
warm
yeah.
inside to your warm car. And I'm like, you know, struggling to get the trash cans down to the road and going over snow piles that we plowed, off of the driveway. It was miserable.
Yeah.
Makes you not want to
It's
do anything.
it's hard to get anything done when it's this type of weather.
Oh boy.
One thing I will say, I haven't talked about it much, but you remember how my Mr. Cool went out because there had been a leak
Yep.
in it the whole time and it was be too expensive to repair. Well, I ended up getting that Heil unit, I think is the brand.
Yeah.
Um, when it gets this cold, the Mr. Cool typically would not keep it at exact temperature. It would drop. So like if it was, 0 degrees or, single digits or slightly negative, my Mr. Cool would have been running, but it usually would only keep it around 63, 64, which is still really, really good. I
Yeah,
went
yeah,
out there
yeah. I'm at
this morning.
66. I'm at 66.
Really? I went out there
Yeah.
this morning, 70 degrees.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean, this one defrosts like a lot. I notice it.
Yeah,
I'll go
this
out
one,
there and
I-
it'll make
I've
noises
had
and I look at it.
I've had major ice over this past weekend because we had that sleeting rain
Hmm.
and my whole thing was iced. So I gave it a little bit of break. I have had my Mr. Cool running pretty much
Yeah,
since the beginning of
nonstop.
December.
Yeah.
That thing just keeps cranking and cranking. I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully it just hangs in there for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't, mine in Greenwood was fine. Never had any issues. But this one, unfortunately, I just avoided the
I tell you,
very clear leak that I knew was there the entire time. And then it bit me in
I'm
the
run,
ass.
I'm running two Northern Tool style 220 heaters, one on each side of the shop. And this, we had really cold temperatures like 10, 8. I've been running one at full and the other one on quarter speed, and it's been keeping it comfortable. I don't have a thermometer in here. I'd say it's like 58, which is comfortable for me when we're working. I kind of like it that temperature. But I actually have to dial them back. If it wasn't for it, they make a little bit of noise, the fan noise, which
Yep.
they're on right now. I know the microphone's not picking them up. I think that's the biggest benefit of the Mr. Cool type is they don't make a lot of noise. They're really quiet.
Hmm.
But the noise doesn't bother me, but it's just when you're trying to do some things. But those little things, I think they were like $70, $80 each, something like that. You
Yeah,
can't beat those.
you don't run them 24, do you?
No, last year I did. I set the thermostat on it just to be like it. You don't even know what it is. It's just like from low to high. It's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
medium. And I kind of just I keep the fans on all the time because if not, the heat's going to go up 10
Yep.
feet high. So the
Yep.
fans are extremely important, or it's just going to heat the upper. But I just turn it on. I leave it on like I'd say 45% on one of them. I don't even know what that is, and the other one I turn off, and that's enough to make it to when you come in, even when it's like single digits, feels nice in here. Doesn't feel cold. And Tommy Silva likes it too. He's got it
Oh my
made.
God.
He's got it made. But it's nice. I started doing that last year because I didn't have to bring paints and things home out of the
Yes.
shop. So I'm
Yep.
able to keep things in here and not worry about them freezing.
So what I've learned about my Mr. Cool is this has been a pretty severe winter. If I know I'm gonna and I watch the weather, I'd like to give it a break here and there, but I haven't had to, or I haven't. Uh, the thing for me is this is what I noticed. I used to have a propane heater and I would throw it on in the morning, but that's not the good way to do it. It's to keep it heated because you start to grab cold hand planes
Yep.
Hmm.
and it
You're
just
so
goes
right.
it goes right through you, or even
You're exactly
cast
right.
iron. Everything you grab just goes right to your and so now all my it
You're
sounds
so right.
funny, but it's kind of like a house. It takes a while for a house because a lot of the furniture absorbs heat and a lot of the walls absorb heat and you need that. So that's why a house won't cool down as quick if it's well insulated because it
Yeah.
has absorbed that heat.
Yes.
And
I
You
that's
know,
what
never turn
happens.
mine off ever.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's smart what Sedge said. I've almost forgotten because that was 3 years ago. Last winter was the first time I did it. I used to come into the shop, I would turn my propane heater on just to get it up to temp, and then I would turn the heaters on. And I thought that was the ideal way to do it. There's a couple disadvantages. You kind of smell that smell that can kind of give you a headache
Yeah.
when you turn the
Yep.
propane on. But and also when you run out, it's the worst thing ever because you'll smoke the entire room up when you don't realize you're low. It'll like it lasts the whole day. But even when you get it up to temperature, like you said, you go to grab things and touch things, it's an uncomfortable coldness that does
Hmm.
not go away the entire day that you work if you let it sit overnight. So last year, I just wanted to just let it ride and see what the electric bill was. It was not bad at all. Very worth it.
Hmm.
It makes us be out here more during the winter. So that's what
Exactly.
you want, and that's what you all want for yours. Um,
And in the summer with the AC, I don't get as fatigued and I can work all day instead of, stopping at 2 in the afternoon because I'm just totally wiped out from heat exhaustion.
Well, there's
yeah,
another aspect to it that a lot of people don't consider, and that's glues and finishes,
Yeah, oh yeah.
especially glue, right? Like, yeah, your shop,
epoxy.
yeah, oh, I can go out there and I can turn it on in the morning and eat breakfast, come back out, and it's warm. It's like, well, is your glue warm? Because your shop, yes, may be up to temperature now, but the stuff that you're using, it might even be below what their recommended stuff is. Same thing with finishes. You're spraying finishes, and the finish itself is super cold, and now it's
Mhm.
laying down on a surface that, yeah, might be warm, but maybe the wood's still cold because you're. So for me, I never turn mine off ever. The only time I will ever turn it off is in the fall or the spring.
Mm.
In the
Yes,
event I decide to open up my garage doors because it's a beautiful day
exactly.
outside.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's same. That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
the same for me now.
I've
I
been
like it.
asked a lot, said you might be able to speak to this because you worked out in your shop for a long time without one. I've never known what it was like to not have one versus having one with power consumption, like on a bill. Because like when we moved into the house in Greenwood, I installed one immediately. It was one of the first
Yep.
things I put in there. When I moved here, I installed one immediately. It was one of the first things I put. So I never had a bill that was being able to just like show any difference between the two. Um, but I've spoken to a lot of people who have, and they're like, "Yeah, we saw like a $20 increase, right?
It's not bad. It's
Yeah,
not
they're
bad. 20,
crazy
30 bucks.
efficient. Yeah,
So that's a good comparison. So mine running it like in a January, December, it adds about $50 to $60 to the bill. That's running a 220 on both sides.
hmm.
And to give comparison to that, if I'm using my CNC a lot for like a week, like on a big project, it'll raise the bill $100.
Oh
So
wow,
that the CNC and the vac pump and all that, that pulls a lot more power than the two heaters running
yeah,
continuously. But it's
totally
worth
worth it.
it. I mean, I totally would pay 60, 70, 80 for the month to be able to use that shop for a whole month and not be scared off
Yep.
from the temperature.
Yeah.
My understanding of it too is that if you leave it on, it's far more efficient and doesn't work nearly as hard. It's actually
Yes.
less efficient and more expensive if you turn it on and turn it off because now you're forcing the system to pull more power and work harder to get to temp. Then it's maintaining
Yes.
it as opposed to
Yes.
just maintaining it all the time.
And from what I understand, there's a middle ground there. Like if you'd like to have your house warmer, then there's some points where that doesn't work out because you're trying to make it and it's working so hard. But that's where they say that range of like that. I don't know, it's like 50, 65 to 68 range, for example.
Hmm.
If you keep it through there, that's when it's better just to leave it on all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to really get in debates with my dad a lot with that. They would leave for the
Mhm.
day, he would shut it all the way down to 50 and then come back I'd be like, it's working harder. And he was like, we would really go back and forth about that kind of thing. But it makes sense that if you maintain the temperature, it doesn't have to work as hard. It just makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I have a automatic fan set up on top of my cabinets that circulates that top down
That's important.
Hmm.
That's
because
very
it's not
important.
that hot air rises, it's cold air drops.
Right. So I have the fans on reverse
Yep.
in the winter and that pushes it down. It's obvious when they're not on. Like you're like,
Yep.
why aren't the heaters working? Those fans are so important.
Hmm.
Very.
For sure. So Ronnie, you go next. What have you been up to?
I've been working on the boat pretty much mostly like that's all I've been doing, which is awesome. It's
Which
fun.
is really cool. That fourth video is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. We're basically caught up right now.
Oh
like
my
video
God.
wise. So we're doing Sedge mode. We're working
Yeah.
in the week. The video we release this weekend will be this week of work. I don't really like that kind of pressure. Doing I'm doing everything myself, including the editing. I hope to get 2 videos done either this week or next week, so I have a 1 video buffer.
Yes. That's how
Trying to
we
get back
are.
to that. Trying to get back to that where I won't be too stressed out. But
Yes.
you know what's really nice, and I'm sure said you saw it, and I know Jason's seen it many, many times. But when you're doing a project and you're doing video on it, and people are expecting to see it, I don't think there's a better motivation than that.
Yep.
Like when you know that people are expecting, and I never said that I was doing weekly videos, but apparently people have already decided in the comments. They're like, "Woohoo! I've been waiting for this all week." That was
Yeah.
one of them, and I was like, "Well, how did you know I was going to put one out this weekend?"
Yeah.
And another guy goes, there was like 3 of them like that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so you are just assuming that it's going to be weekly, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can
It's
do this."
funny. It's funny because I release my videos usually at 6 a.m. on Sunday, and a lot of people go, it's nothing like Sunday morning with Sedge.
I really more and more I keep telling Kelly, I'm like, I think it's really smart that Sedge launches them on Sunday morning because that's sometimes the only time people maybe can get their YouTube time in. It's worked out for me that I've been able to do Saturday morning, and I
Yep.
feel like I'm getting a partial Sunday morning on Saturday morning, and I get another one because you can even see on the stats that people once their Saturday morning starts going, you can tell they're not watching anymore. That the watching stats go way down in the middle of the
Oh
day on
yeah.
Saturday, but the morning are strong, but it leaves. But I think Sunday morning is stronger and longer, like that people are
Yeah.
just kind of maybe having more of a lounging day.
Yep.
So we were working on that, and we plan on releasing the next one this weekend. And Jason touched on a minute ago about the having hardware and designing things before you have it. I have never had something like that more than the boat. Last night I ordered the gauges for the speedometer, RPM, all that kind of stuff. I have to have that in order to figure out the placement, in order to figure out the steering wheel location, in order to figure out the steering wheel location, I have to have a seat mock-up done. Before I have the seat mock-up done, we have to have a temporary floor in place where I can sit in the seat and see where the steering wheel needs to go to tell where these are all things that aren't on the plans. This is all
Hmm.
things that you just have to kind of figure out what's right for you.
Oh.
So we're already the part now where there's very little left on plans. This is all, and like Cameron said the other day, we could put this in the water right now. We could put a motor on the back of it, and it is a boat. We could use it. This is all extras that we're putting on there. So I keep finding this chicken before the egg thing, and I even talked about in the last video, and that we keep thinking we want to do something, but we have to do something else before we can do it. And we go like 4 levels down, and I'll get 4 levels down and realize I don't know anything about that, and I have to learn about it. It's like last night I spent 7 hours. Like Kelly went to bed at 9 o'clock. I was up till 3:20, like learning about RPM gauges and the poles of engines. Like there's a 12 pole and a 10 pole and things like that. And I didn't know what that was. And then I had to learn about the engines to learn which one we were getting to see if it was going to work with our gauges were going to work. And I want to do a GPS speedometer and not one of those little, fingery ones in the back that get clogged up.
Hmm.
And then trying to figure out if that's going to work with it and all that. So it's like I keep going in these rabbit holes where it's like I have to do like 5 to 6 hours of admin work for us to come in and work for 2 hours
Hmm.
on, it. So and I'm not complaining. It's fun. If I had nothing else to do too, I mean, it's great. It's what a pastime. And I hear about
Yeah.
people that do this in the retirement phase, and I'm like, I understand. Like, I love the comments I'm getting. I'm getting people, it's pulling people out of the woodwork that they're like, man, my grandfather built 3 boats. This makes me wish I like went in there and helped them. Because some people, you don't have the desire when you're younger, and then you start getting into woodworking and you realize your grandfather was a woodworker who was building boats when you were like a kid or like a teenager, and it sounds like this guy was like regretting that he hadn't
Mhm.
went in there. And so it's cool to see the comments, and I think it's a lot of people are identifying it with a bunch of different ways, whether they want to build one or they remember somebody building one or they had one when they were younger. It's kind of cool. It's been neat.
Hmm.
I feel
But
like, well, what you were just saying about you spend 5 hours doing administrative stuff trying to figure out how to go about it. I have to assume that that is such a massive struggle for hobbyist woodworkers when they're getting ready, and probably why so many people are intimidated by cabinets, which are one of the easiest things that you can make as a woodworker, right? However, the person who knows nothing about hardware and is sitting there going, which freaking one do I need and what measurements and where do the hinges go? How far from the top of the cabinet? How far from the edge of the door? All these things. And so you end up spending all of this time, doing this research and trying to figure it out. And then you don't know which ones to get or using new hardware, which is the problem that I'm running into. And it's not that I can just look in a manual, right? And this is another thing that a lot of people can't do. I can just look in the Bloom or the Sedge or any of these manuals and I can go, I know exactly where that needs to go. Perfect example. I want to punch the holes and assemble the base cabinet that's going to have my drawers. I can open up the manual and go, okay, I'm using 21-inch drawer slides. I know the first hole, it'll definitely line up with something at 37 millimeters, so I know I can punch the first one there. And then I just need to find on their scale where one of those rear holes is, and then I punch the second row. I feel confident that I can do that. Most people probably, they would never even attempt it because they don't have the slides there. However, there's some new door hinges that are like concealed hinges that I haven't used before that require them to be plunged out with like a domino. And so those need to be done before put the cabinets together. And, like what are the exact measurements for those? Am I going to get the door size right? I'm doing pocket doors. I have to install the hardware on the sides of those cabinets prior to installing it because I only have so much space on the left and right. So that's where I'm running into an issue. And it's like, how far do I really want to get into this before I actually have the stuff in front of me? You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
though I can look in the manual and get a good idea on most of these things, but
Yeah,
it's tricky.
yeah, and same here. I could have downloaded the PDF on those 4 circle gauges and just marked the circle locations and went on with it. But at the same time, it's like I need them because what if I base it on there? They only have 9 left right now on the website that I was on there. And I'm thinking I better grab these because I'm going to design a dash around it and then not be able to get them. So
Mhm.
it's like you got to get them while you can. Um, but that makes it hard. That's what I used to like when you were saying that. I used to like in my beginning to go to a place like a Woodcraft or a Rockler, and you could actually see the hinges, and you could sit there. You're not even looking at what they're called. You just know what you need, and you're like, okay, this one's got the offset that I need, and this one opens the way I want it to open. I'm going with these. That's the way I
Mhm.
used to do it. I didn't know what they were called. I just know I wanted to do this, and this is what that one does. It's really hard online, especially with places like Bloom and Salice. They just assume you know what the number you need, the model number, you know?
That's a really good point. And I never thought about it like that. So Sedge, I don't know if you've been over here since I have all those Salice mock-ups,
Hmm.
like an entire table full of these things. So I'm going to be using those to
Yes.
create content on the very specific topic that we're talking about. And my original idea was, how do I make one end all be all video that covers everything hinges? But then you look at how much stuff is there. It's like, this can't be one video. This has to be a series of videos, right? Where maybe one I'm talking about like breaking it down to the simplest thing, like what does overlay mean? How do you
Mhm.
determine what overlay? How does overlay determine the size of your door? Um,
Yeah.
what the tab is for each one of these. What is a tab? Like all the common lingo, because you're 100% right on these companies that are these major cabinet hardware manufacturing companies. They are not making their stuff for the hobbyist. They are
Right.
not there for to provide it to the hobbyist. Now, hobbyists do buy it. They are making it because there are corporations and large cabinetry companies that are making orders in the
The
millions of
thousands. Yeah.
dollars
Yeah.
of hardware that's going to be for the first 6 months of the year in their business. They know what they're looking for. They know what they need because they've done the same thing. They make the same product over and over again. They get it. So you're
Hmm.
right. That stuff is assuming what you're looking at and what you're looking for, right?
Right. Right. And I
It's
love
not for
those
the
little,
person that doesn't.
I love those little 4x4 pieces of wood where they have a hinge attached to it, because sometimes you even need that to see, because you can't look at a hinge and tell what the offset is unless
Mhm.
it's like installed. And then when you have those little pieces of wood to kind of tell, I know they have those in woodcraft, and that really helps to be able to see, especially when you're not familiar with the terminology.
Yeah.
Hey, Ronnie, last week you and I were talking about lasers.
Yeah.
So I ran into a situation that some of you might run into out there listening. Chris and I was shooting a video about, I don't want to tell you anybody the topic on this because it's going to come out in about 3 weeks. It was really interesting because in the installation video I released a couple weeks ago, I was showing how to use the laser in Plum to lay
Mm-hmm.
out my stud lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that PLS laser for 25, 30 years. And I remember buying it and I had no money, but I knew it would save me a ton of time. And I remember exactly what I paid for it. It was $415, but it was state of the art. It was the first one out there. And PLS was Pacific Laser Systems. Um, and it was really interesting because uh, it was the first one that was self-leveling, self-plumb. And it wasn't a beeping laser or a blinking laser. It was a straight line. Now everybody has them, right? So what do you do? I can't. I turned it on this weekend, and Chris goes, "Where's the straight line that goes up and down?" I went, "It's gone." We switched batteries. Uh, I did a bunch of things, and the plumb line is gone. It's broken. So what do you do? The company's out of business. They sold out to somebody. So I went online. I started looking at lasers
I was going to
because
say
I
buy
want
a
to.
new laser.
I did. But who do you buy one from? Do I go as cheap as $39 and it doesn't have all the features I want? So I bought a Stabila and I paid. Mary Ann goes, so it was a lot less expensive. I go, no, about the same price. But I went with a company that I know will be around for a long time.
Hmm.
Not all these, and by the way, there must have been 20 different companies on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Ronnie was saying that he uses a Bosch last week, and he can go to any Home Depot or Lowe's to get it. Right? Is that a straight line or a blinking, a rotating?
360 green.
It's a 360 rotating.
Yeah, this is the one they just released. It's an improvement on the other one that I had. It's an
How much
18
did you
volt.
pay?
It's
How much
18
did you pay
volt
for
now.
that?
Um, I didn't, but I think it's six. I think it's
Must be
six
nice to
forty
be an
nine.
influencer.
I
Oh,
think
six
it's.
forty
I
nine.
think it's 649, I believe. But what I
Yeah,
like the most about it is the last one was a 12 volt. This one's a 18 volt. The 12
yeah,
volt, the battery did not last long at all. It was such a pain on the job site to try to make sure I carry around little 12 volt Bosch batteries. This one
yeah.
takes 18s. It's so much better than what I had before. The other version. I reached out to them. I saw it at the show. They showed it, and they actually remembered. 3 months later, I got it. They sent it to me as soon as it was released, and I right now it's not even available on Amazon. But just because we're talking about it, it's a GLL 330 80CG, and it's an improvement to the previous version that I have. I've had
Mm.
that for like 4 years.
So who your laser measurer is Bosch too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Hmm.
See,
but
I've had my Stabila, and I know still if that ever goes, I've had that for probably 15 years, 16 years. I know I can go to Stabila and get it fixed. So that's something I just wanted to put out there because that's what I've been messing with in the shop is all kinds of digital stuff that I have and electronic stuff. And it's a huge time saver. And that's what we were getting at last week with the laser levels and laser measuring. I just wanted to put that out there.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it's a very valuable tool for sure. I
Yeah.
use it all the time.
Yeah. Cool. So that's what I've been up to.
What? What's his name? Doctor made it. Um, Hold on. I need to find this because now that we're talking about laser levels. I want to share with you guys the coolest thing ever. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up.
Hey, hey, while you're looking at it, I'll tell you a 30-second quick funny story.
Yeah, David
Cameron and I
Rain.
were, I was doing a YouTube video on this laser. I just put it out like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I needed to be able to show the range of it. And right by our favorite little brewery, Country Boy, they're building this steel frame structure, like a big building that's like 175 feet, 200 feet long. And Cameron and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, let's just stop by there. We'll get a shot of it in there, show how the line can work, 175, 200 feet. We walk in there, we set up, we've got the little camera, we're showing the inside of it. And we noticed a trail cam like inside the building, like little on the side. I didn't think anything of it. We're just in there getting a shot. I mean, it's like no big deal. We're finishing up. We're there for like 5 minutes. All of a sudden, a police explorer pulls up, police, and I was like, that must be like an alarm type thing. Another police car pulls up, another one. Being like a good guy's never been arrested before, I like think I'm on their side, and I'm walking out, I'm like, hey guys, yeah, and he goes, hands down, I could see him. Put down. I'm holding my studio light and I'm holding the laser, and I'm just sitting there going, what? He's like, put the things down. Put them down.
What?
And Cameron's standing behind me, and I'm like, oh, I was like, you think I'm a bad guy? Oh, okay. I was like, I sit him down, and the guy, he could tell he's nervous. He's got his hand on his gun, and there are 4 or 5 police cars at this time are out there, all explorers, like with their lights on. And I'm thinking, I forget, I don't know if it's where we live, but where we live, if a building's being built, it's a steel structure and it's just slab and steel, like in gravel, you can like go up there and walk around if you want. You can, nobody cares. But apparently the people who were they had their cam on, they freaked out and they said somebody was it called robbery? They said it was like, I was not robbery, what's the word for it? Burglary. Yeah, yeah. That's what they
Breaking
thought
and
it was.
entering.
Yeah, yeah. And the guy was like, we're just shooting a video here. Like, that's all. Like, we're not in it. He was like, well, let me talk to him. Goes back, talks to the owner, and the owner's like, okay, they're going to trespass you. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, it's like, he goes, well, that just means that you can't come back again. And I was like, well, we're done. We've already shot our footage. I don't care. And he was like, well, I was like, is that like a police record thing? And he goes, no. He said, it just means that it's official that you've been trespassed, that you can't come back. And I was like, well, okay, that's fine. And
Wow.
as we talked to him, the guy, Cameron was telling him, answering, and he realized, and he was like, man, what's your handle? Were you on Instagram? The guy started following, the policeman started following us, by the way, which is kind of cool. But apparently these people weren't very nice. Well, it shook me up so much. I put my light up against a wheelbarrow, like on the thing, battery and everything. We just got out of there. We were like gone. I didn't realize till a day later that I left it there. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
So I sent Cameron up there because they just wrote it up on me because they said he was a minor. And I was like, well, Cameron can still go. So Cameron goes up and there's 2 guys working, and he's like, hey, do you have it? He goes, yeah, they took it to the police station. You can pick it up there. So short story of that part, I go to the police station. They're like, we don't have it. It's in the evidence room. You're gonna have to go back a certain day.
Jesus.
So I have to, I'm like, is it even worth it? Cameron's like, we need to get that light back. But we actually have footage of it, and I almost put it in the video, but I didn't want to open a whole nother thing. Cameron was holding the Osmo the whole time, just about, when the police were there recording like a big part of it. It was funny to watch it afterwards.
My God.
He
I need to think of a episode title with you being a bandit or something.
Well,
Yeah.
this was the day after New Year's, or it was on New Year's Day. It was on New Year's Day, and Cameron had a picture of his Jeep. We were in his Jeep also, which it probably would have been better if we were in the van in some ways. He had a picture of like 5 police cars behind him, and he put on Snapchat to his friends and everything. He said, starting the new year out right. And everybody was freaking out. What did you do? What did you do? He just let it sit. So it was an excitement, but I felt weird. I felt like I just felt bad for the owner because I freaked him out that I was doing something. The only thing I saw in there was like a big Miller welder that was like the size of a car, and they had a tool chest kind of thing, like a metal box locked up. That was it. At a forklift. I mean, it's like, what do they think? He said, well, when I pulled up and saw the Jeep, I knew you all weren't stealing that much. If you were stealing something, I was like, no, we didn't think anything of it.
How long ago was this?
This was on New Year's Day. Yeah, it was just kind of crazy. I'll have to show you all the building when you come down here. It's right next to Country Boy. They've been building
Uh,
it forever. So I didn't think anything of it. But yeah, that brought that up. I didn't tell that story. I'll have to put the clip of it on Discord of the
wow.
of the
Yeah,
camera.
you
But this,
should. I want to
yeah, it's
see it.
pretty funny.
Um, that thing I was talking about, since we were talking about lasers, I saw this on Instagram from somebody that I actually follow. We've followed each other for a long time. His name is David Rainia. His Instagram is dr made it.
Yeah, I know that guy.
I've
Yeah,
seen it before.
and he has he has a website called the magsys.com, magsys.com. Um, and he had like these, custom pencils with like this clip that was magnetized. You'd put it on your hat and it would stick to it. I actually have a couple of them there, and they're really, really nice mechanical pencils. But he creates some other different things too. But one of the things that he made was a bracket that can be used for a laser level, or say like a digital camera or something like that. And all it is like it's an L shape, and on the back side of it, it's like a V shape, and there's magnets inside of it. And this thing just like you just put it directly on a corner bead and it holds your laser. And so now you don't need a tripod. And it has a little star knob on the bottom of it that threads, quarter 20 thread, just like anything else. And it goes into the bottom of your laser or your camera or whatever else. He has like a regular version and an XL. XL, I think, just has stronger magnets. So if you're doing something heavier like a DSLR camera, um, you can see it if you go to his site or his Instagram page. But holy cow, is that thing been so handy? Because the thing I always hated with laser levels and was the fact that, like, okay, I got to set this up with the tripod, and then you got to adjust the legs, and it's just a pain in the butt to get it exactly where you want it, and then you're moving it, and it like shakes, and you're far away, whatever the case is. And so then I would usually just go to like stacking things and trying to get that perfect stack to get it
Yep.
to where I wanted.
Oh yeah.
That's
This
tough.
this I can go in any room, any external corner, or anything that has a metal edge, and I just plop it on there. And if I need to adjust it, I just raise it up and down.
Can
It
you
does not mar the surface or anything.
can you stick it flat? Because on my old PLS laser, I had the exact same thing. It was an L bracket and it had two magnets, so you could put it on a steel stud.
Yeah.
Those have
I
been
don't.
around for 25, 30 years.
This one,
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
this one has this on the Bosch. They have really strong rare earth magnets on the back of the one that's always affixed, but then it
Yeah.
also comes with like an 8 or 10 inch one that you can stick to it, and it's got a little adjustment knob, and it has magnets on it
Yeah.
too. And that's
So
really handy because, like
do
you said,
yours
I'm always putting books and things on there to try to get it right.
yours has a V, right? On the
Yes,
back?
Yeah,
So
the
it
it's
V
could go
is
on a
cool.
corner bead, but
it's
not
specifically
all
for
houses
corner
have corner
applications.
beads. Yeah. The
Yeah.
metal corner beads. Because the
What I
plastics are
like,
prevalent now.
what was smart about this design is this magnet goes onto that other accessory and it sticks on like a magnet too. So you can put it close to where you want it, and then you can
Yeah.
dial it on. You can dial it in that, say, like 10 inches of up and down, and you don't
Yeah.
have to try to stack things on there. It's really handy. I want to put a metal plate on the side of my ladder. That's one of my improvement things
Uh,
because I generally always am working out with, I have a
aluminum.
ladder, a 6 foot ladder. If I had a
Oh, that's
metal
smart.
plate on the side of it, it'll be able to stick on there.
Speaking of ladders, I had a question for you. You work with Little Giant a lot, don't you?
Yes, I really like their stuff.
Okay, I was going to ask that because I need a ladder. I have just a standard 8 foot ladder that most homeowners would own, um, but I need one that expands to much longer than that for different applications.
Mhm.
And I've been looking at those Little Giant ones, and I like that I can get a 22-foot capacity and it be the same footprint as my 8 foot ladder. And I wanted to know,
Yes.
Sedge, do you have a Little Giant or do you have something else?
Nope. I have one of the originals before they were bought by I think it was Werner bought them.
Do you
Um,
like it?
yep, it's heavy. It's heavy duty.
It is heavy.
It was when Little Giant was manufacturing Little Giant. So I bought it I've had it for 35 years. I bought it at a home show in Fort Lauderdale. and I never looked back. It's awesome. But I have the big one, and I
Yeah, you
keep
do.
thinking there's that fiberglass one that you like, Ronnie, right? And
Yeah, that's
Brent
the one.
Brent has one that goes in between studs. It's kind of tapered a
That's it.
little.
That's it. That's the one that it's like a 6 foot ladder that will also go into a 12 because it swings
Yeah,
around and it
yeah,
also does corners. And that one's kind of like the all around Swiss Army knife that I keep on my van all the time. But then I also have the 22, which is what Sedge probably has. It's the
yeah.
four. It
That's the
goes
one
like a
I'm thinking
regular
about
ladder.
getting.
Yeah, the 22 is a really good one. It is like Sedge said, it's a little heavy, but you probably could lift it. But no,
They've got it
I
on
use
sale right now for $200.
that
There's
is my next second most used ladder next to that
and
six
there's
footer. If Cameron
yeah.
and I have any doubts that we're going to be able to not get to something, we go to that one because I have
Lowe's
the 16-foot version of the Little Giant like that, and it really doesn't get you much more than that 6 foot ladder that goes to
Yeah.
12.
Lowe's has one right now. I don't know what the capacity is. It's a $200 ladder and it's marked at $94 at Lowe's.
Whoa, whoa!
Wow. They
And
must have
it's
new
So that
models getting ready to come
I
out.
picked it up and it was fairly lightweight.
I
Yeah.
like the 22 is great because you don't have to extend it out of the way, but you have that if you need it. So that
Yeah.
is a great ladder. I'm not sure. I don't remember the name of it, but it's
The reason the reason I got it is because I was doing a lot of stuff on stairways and I like how
Yeah.
you can offset it. I just did something where Marianne was freaking out, but I had to change the chandelier in our two-story hallway, and it's in the stairway. And she goes, "When's the last time we put bulbs in there?" And I go, that would be almost 18 years ago.
that's funny.
The bulb finally burnt out, so I had to replace the bulb.
You
And
know,
I
it's
was
funny
up
you
there.
mentioned that was the application you needed it because that's the number one reason why I'm going to buy it
Yeah,
because of that
Yeah.
damn light that's at the
yeah,
top of the
yeah.
stairway. I want to change it out to a LED slim
Yeah.
light like the rest of the lights in the house, and that's why I need it. That and an
I've
exterior light.
never I've never skimped on ladders. Sometimes I'll be walking through Lowe's and I'll see a deal on a ladder and I'll go, oh, 40
Mhm.
bucks, 50 bucks I got a fiberglass ladder I use. I bought a ladder that I got at a marine store that it's my good step. I think I have like five or I think I have about six ladders of different sizes. One step, two step, three step. I have scaffolding that I store in the basement in the little corner. And I go, oh, I'm gonna get rid of that Baker scaffolding. Nope.
You have scaffolding?
You know the rolling one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A two step, I have it, and I next thing you know, I'm using it. I when I paint, you know, I'm always using that scaffold.
How high will that go?
Ah, Jesus, not too high. Uh, it'll get me to
Probably.
paint my ceilings. I got 9 foot ceilings throughout most of the house. It'll get me to the top to paint the 9 foot.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
want to
I'm gonna.
borrow it, dude? It's awesome. It's just
Well, I'm
sitting
gonna.
there.
At some point, I'm gonna end up painting our master bedroom, and obviously that's like the one room in the house that has those vaulted ceilings, and it's
Yeah, no. There's the scaff. The scaff won't go that high.
yeah.
But you
Well,
can
either way,
always
I'm gonna
rent.
need a big ladder.
Scaffolding's a good thing to rent because they take up so much room.
Ooh.
You could always rent one.
Yeah.
Rent some.
I like this one because I can roll it, lock it, move it.
Yeah.
You right?
They like a Sunbelt will rent the one that's like I'm guessing on the size it's like maybe a 6 by 3, 4 range, and it you can put as many sections as you want, and it rolls around, and it'd be really handy for doing like a room with tall ceilings. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
The reason I like this scaff is because I could take the plates off, store them flat, and I could fold it in the rack, so just folds flat to about 2 inches depth.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a yellow one online I've seen before, and I almost bought it for a specific project. You could buy that, like depending on the rental cost, you could buy that, use it for your project, then turn around and like Facebook Marketplace and probably get your money back close to. They sell sections to it. I've seen it before. Like they have it in Northern Tool
Mm-hmm.
catalog and things like that. It's like you can get risers and it's
Yep.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Ladders are fun.
Yeah, they
No, they're
are.
not. I had a shutter blow off the other day when we had some wind come through. My neighbor, right before the snowstorm, my neighbor's like, "Hey, I got one of your shutters over here." I'm like, "What?" And I look because it like ripped, out of the anchors. I mean, they're 20 years old.
Right.
It's on the front of the house. It's getting beat by the sun in the summertime. So there's a few of them that are like warped and actually coming out. So I need to go get, but it's on the second floor above the garage. So I need to go get a longer ladder and then get the anchor bolts or whatever that go for those and reinstall it. So it's weird. Like I've always said, oh, I wish I had a taller ladder sometimes, but I'm like, no, my 8 foot ladder like does everything I need. Just standard A-frame ladder. I've never had any issues, and now in a situation where it's like, man, I really would benefit from having a long ladder. I don't want to store it in the basement because it's a pain in the butt getting it down. So then I just figured I'm probably just going to put some brackets up on the wall and just keep those things in the garage off the floor out of the way. Out of the
Yeah,
way.
the nice thing about that 22 is it's only like 6 foot tall when it's retracted.
Mhm.
It's very small for what
Yeah,
it
I think
is.
they must have some new models. I think they have new models that just came out because while I was there, they had that 22 and then they had like something 2.0 and it was like $389 and it had like a basket in the top where you could put things. I'm like, "Okay. So these are marked down from 250 to 200. These ones right here are clearly the new model. They're just trying to get rid of these whatever they have left in stock." So I think when I get back from my trip, hopefully they still have them there. I'm sure they will. I don't think people are running out and buying ladders all the time, but
You just got to
um,
decide if you're going to be stepping into 2024 or 2025.
Yeah. They
with a ladder, I'm okay with a 1994.
What version you running, a 15 or a 16
I'm
see
okay with
what would you
Sedge's
guys
old ladder.
what would you guys do if you saw something that was $5,000 marked down to 2,000 and you didn't need it because they're coming out with a new model next and they're gonna release the new model. What would you do? Would you buy it?
It would depend
I've
on
been
what it
in,
is.
yeah, it depends. I've been in that situation before, and if it's something I know I could use and I don't care about what the new one's going to have, I'd always would pounce on it.
Yeah. Well, I just saw Marianne contacted me because she sees stuff at Lowe's, and she goes, "You know that Ego Zero clearance turn?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, 5,000, 5,200. They marked it down to 2,000. Comes with
Wow.
four 10-amp batteries, and each battery each one is $500.
So it's for the cost of the batteries.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they had like she goes, "Don't you want to get it?" I go, "No, we could take
Now
that
that in
2,000."
particular, like, I don't. I mean, I already have a zero turn now, but
Uh-huh.
I considered that zero turn, but I was like, I'm not paying 5 grand
I know.
Hmm.
for this zero turn at 2,000 though.
Yeah,
If it
it's
was
this time of the
2,000, I would have
year.
bought it.
They know they're going to sit on it until
Yeah, but
spring
you
at the
had a zero.
minimum.
But you had a zero turn.
I have one now. I was
Yeah.
going to buy
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
electric
But
one
what would you
instead.
buy one now and sell your gas?
I mean, almost because I could probably sell it. I like the benefits of the battery powered stuff because guess what? I have forgotten to go out and start my mower in a couple of months now. And the last couple of times it's been cold. I've gone out there to try to start it, won't start.
Yeah.
No.
So here we go. Like, this is why I don't like the gas powered lawn equipment because in a location where you don't use it year round, because I don't do the things I probably should do, which is, winterize it and all that other stuff. But so now I'm going to have to like be bothered with because I'm sure I'm probably drained the battery and trying to start the damn thing. And I'm going to have to wait till it gets warm out. And maybe I
Hey,
need to go get one of those little jump charger things because it's in the
yeah.
backyard.
Just so you know, Cameron's figured out we have almost the same one. He's figured out, that sound that the batteries did when you go to start something? It lies to you. Cameron's figured this out. I've went to start it before and he'll go "Kuh," like I think it, and he goes, "Let me see." He gets on there and he does it again. He lets it sit for a second, does it again. The second time it starts up. And I don't know
I've
why
tried
that
for like
is.
20 minutes
Really,
straight twice.
when that happens, I just
Just
take the
goes click,
battery,
click, click,
I
click,
put the
click, click,
battery
click, click, click.
maintainer, I put the charger on it, let it run for a while. I use the same one that I use on a car battery. It's just a smart one, and it gets it up to speed. And I think you kind of need to do that on that one anyway, because I don't feel like the alternator fully charges that battery. I feel like it's kind of dies slowly throughout the season. It seems like it gets a little sluggish. It's good to every once in a while put it on and get a full charge.
Yeah.
And also, if you look for something to do, you can pull that battery out in like 30 seconds, bring it in your house. It'll be a lot better on it than being out there in the
Oh, good point. Yeah, I
cold
probably
one.
should have done that. Maybe I will.
Yeah, it's
I'll do
pretty
it
easy to
after I
pull
get back
out.
from my golf trip.
It'll be too late. I'm just
Sedge,
kidding.
you had mentioned that with the mower. We actually ended up doing that on a car. Unfortunately, bad decision. We didn't know at the time, but we ended up trading in one of Nicole's. What did she have at the time? She had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. We got a call from a dealership. Someone lived down in Georgia. Hey, we're really interested in getting your, buying your car. We need Jeep Grand Cherokees. We're like, whatever. We'll go check it out. We loved the car, but we're like, go check it out. They had this like fully loaded Chrysler 200, like every feature you could have on it, steal of a deal. And we were like, man, this is a really good deal. We'll buy it. Yeah. Guess what we found out a few months after we bought it? The reason why it was so cheap is because they were discontinuing it. So guess what
Ah,
happened when we went to go trade that in? We took a huge loss.
Uh,
Huge loss. Yeah.
yeah. It just I mow a couple lawns now, mine and the next door neighbors, and boy, that zero turn would have been nice. But you know what? Do I really need something like that? And then I got to store it.
Yeah.
It's
It
gonna.
take up a
I'm
lot of
not gonna.
space.
It takes up a lot of space. No, thank you. And
yeah.
I was like such a good deal. We were going back and forth. She goes, yeah, but the batteries alone are worth 2,000. I go, honey, it's something we really don't need. We could take that 2K and put it somewhere else.
You take a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the perspective on that changes probably over time when those deals, they should throw me off more when I be and Lowe's is our store too. That's when I'm closest to. So I'm there all the time. And sometimes you see those out of season deals. And I've bought things before that I didn't even need. And I'm like, oh, I can use that. It's such a good deal. I'll buy it. And then 2 years later, I'm looking at it going, why did I buy that?
Yeah.
I've
It,
done that
it,
before.
and that is something that I have learned over time. I see a
Yeah.
really good deal. I know people who go shopping on the weekends and buy, and they have a room full of freaking tchotchke shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not telling you my in-law that does that.
I'm not telling you that one. Which one?
I ain't telling you.
That's my
But
mom's pastime. She loves to do that.
yeah, I guess it gets them out of the house and they like to
Yeah.
shop and they go for the deal,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And she's got such a kind heart.
Yeah.
And
It
we all get
definitely
it for
is.
Christmas.
Yeah. It's something that part of your journey. I think you realize finally that's like it doesn't matter how good of a deal it is. If you don't need it, you're just going
It's
to be up storing it.
the thing I
Yeah.
look at it, it's dead money. So
Yeah.
Marianne will buy something. I go, do we really need that? And I go, Jesus, Christmas, you know? And then all of a sudden she shows me, I got it for like the knives. Okay, she doesn't do it anymore, but she was buying these knives. I go, how many of these sharp knives, really sharp knives, and multicolored and everything? I was like, God damn it, Marianne, you're spending a small fortune on this. She goes, honey, I'm getting them for a quarter a piece.
Oh wow.
And I go, what? She
Wow.
goes, they're on cutout at Lowe's. No pun intended. And I go, what? She goes, every once in a while they come up to me and say, hey, listen, we're getting rid of these or we're going to throw them away. Jason, that piece of it's a weird mahogany out of South America. I got it's a really nice piece, probably $100 piece. I got it for $5.
Oh wow.
And it's sitting there. I haven't done anything with it. It's because there was a nick in the packaging and someone returned it. And you guys
Wow.
know the deal I got on my refrigerator, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
You
awesome.
can't even see the ding on it. And it's a $4,500 refrigerator I had installed, my old one taken away for a total 1,800 with the full warranty plus.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that
It's
kind
just
of
some
stuff is
people.
great.
Yeah.
It's like
Now I do.
it's like girl math. My wife tells me all the time. Well, I bought a bunch of them because they were on sale and I saved money essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I do.
But I
I
can't
do.
complain. Marianne's
No.
frugal.
Yeah, so is mine. I do that on the Lowe's things when I'm there. I always go by and make sure if I see a over the counter microwave, a dishwasher, or a stove, I'm on it. If it's marked like half where somebody's returned it, because it's perfect for the rental houses, and it's usually a really nice one. It's usually an upgraded one, like it would be like a $1,200 stove, and I can get it for 500 or 600. And then the tenants are really happy because they're getting a really high end stove. And I've found I don't have to store it very long before we need it.
Yeah.
Those things that go out, they don't last very long now, especially dishwashers. If we can get 2 years out of a dishwasher, great.
Really?
Yes, it's a constant. And the over the range microwaves, they used to last forever. They don't anymore. The digital screen will go out on them. They'll just stop working. So I just try to get the same brand so the screw holes line up, and then it's like NASCAR. I have all my tools out. I show up, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to be around here if you need any." I'm done.
Yeah.
No kidding, huh?
They're like, "You're already done?" Like, yeah, I don't get paid by the hour. See ya. Thanks for paying rent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
Fun
what
stuff.
what time is it right now?
You got to get going, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta get going so I can take Leo to
How
shoot
long's
some
how long-
hoops.
How long's practice?
They last about 50-ish minutes. The struggle, so practices are always on Mondays, and games, it looks like for the most part, are always on Saturdays. But it sucks because he's in kindergarten and his practice it starts at like 7:20 and it goes until like 8:10, and then I've got to bring him back, and then he has to go to bed like immediately, which never happens. So then he can get up and go to school the next day. So that I don't love, but I also understand. So like I'm already getting a little bit of a taste of what it's like to have kids that do sports. But the spring sports sign up roster already got handed out, and I saw my wife, like, her wheels are turning in her head, and I'm like, you better not, honey. We are giving it a chance this year. I really think Leo's going to take to golf. I don't want anything to get in the way of that if this year he
Yes.
decides he doesn't want to do it. But I'm like, I have not been pressuring him, but he asks me every couple of days, when is it going to be warm so we can go back to the golf course? So I'm like, I want to see if this pans out. And if he wants to play that and he's playing it and he gets whatever the hell he wants, he's going to be a spoiled little golf kid. I don't care. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, you know what? I bet you'd come
Wintertime, he
out
can play
cheaper.
basketball. I don't care.
It'd probably come out cheaper because you're already at the golf course anyway than doing a
Yeah.
totally different sport. Especially
Yeah.
if
I
you're
told her, I was like,
traveling
honey,
around.
let me get the kids into golf. And then imagine all of the days where I can take the kids and we can leave and you
Yes.
can have time to yourself. You're welcome.
Well, you're selling it good too.
Now, you know what?
Yeah.
Then it's going to be, you all leave me and I'm here all by myself for the entire day and you're all having fun. And I'm like, feel left out.
You know what we need to do in addition to SplinterCon is we need to have, because Sedge, you said you were going to start getting back into golf. We need to have a annual Three Splinters golf outing.
Tournament.
Oh God, that would be amazing. That would be so much fun. We can't talk about that right now. I feel like I'm going to go down a rabbit hole.
Yes.
I have got to go and take Leo to practice, but I will be thinking about it while I'm sitting there at his practice.
Hey, we would have wooden tees.
Yeah.
We'll call them splinters.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's such an original idea. Wooden ones.
Yeah.
And
Annual
the
Splinter
clubs, we'll
golf
call them
outing.
woods. We'll call them the woods, the clubs.
Three Splinter golf outing. This is going to be amazing. Said you need to go get back into golf. You better go hit the range.
Oh yeah.
Top golf tonight.
Try to find the time.
Oh,
Oh, that's fun.
It's
just so you know,
bye-bye.
our ticket purchasing does work.
Nice.
Just got confirmation.
Awesome.
So we're good.
Nice.
We're
So-
good.
Some of you listening to this, we look forward to seeing you at
Yes.
SplinterCon because you'll have already bought tickets.
Yes.
But we're good to go. All right, boys. Sedge, tonight, because I'm in a good mood,
Bye-bye.
I'm going to let you take this one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.